What is going on, guys? Gavin here, and today I want to share with you the Phantom Knights deck profile that I used to go undefeated with at locals. This deck actually worked out surprisingly well. Even though I'm not playing Dragoon and I'm not playing Appaloosa, I kind of decided to play a more mid-range style of Phantom Knights that was more inspired by Vanilla Scoop's build that was featured on MST.TV's channel a while back, but I kind of modernized it and added some of the newer cards that have come out between now and then into the deck. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get on into that. Triple copies of Torn Scales to start. Obviously, this card is insane. It's just the best normal summon in the deck, allows you to set up your graveyard, and also this card acts as an extender from the graveyard, which is really nice. Triple copies of Silent Boots, just another extender, and basically allows you to fetch your fog blades and whatnot. This card's really good. 2 copies of Ancient Cloak, because while it doesn't special summon itself, it's really good for like grinding, just because it adds you the Phantom Knights cards from your deck. So that's like all the monsters and Shade Brigandine as well. So that's really good in my opinion. 1 copy of Stained Greaves, 1 copy of Ragged Gloves, and then 1 copy of Shade Brigandines for the one-ofs. Basically, these cards aren't like amazing in my opinion, but they're also like decent enough to play. Stained Greaves can help you debrick your hand. Ragged Gloves is pretty good because it allows you to kind of substitute this card for any other card, Phantom Knights card in your graveyard. So this card is basically, when it's in your graveyard, it's any Phantom Knights card in your graveyard, and that's really cool. And then Shade Brigandine is decent because it sometimes helps you make Rusty, although in this deck, or this particular build, I think it's not as good as it is in like the other Phantom Knight build, but it's still decent. Then we are on 1 copy of Rhoda, just because it searches like the entire Phantom Knights lineup, as well as some of the extenders. And then for the extenders, we are playing 2 copies of E-Telly, 1 copy of Tracker, 2 copies of Wheelator. So basically, these cards are really, really good because so long as you have a level 3 on the board, these cards the psychic monsters are just free special summons, and then E-Telly obviously can just special summon any of these out from your deck. Yeah, E-Telly is broken. I loved seeing this card today. I actually drew into 2 copies of it off of a triple tactics talent, and that just, allowed me to blow out my opponent on the spot. So I like the 2-3 ratio just because it pretty much ensures that you don't draw E-Telly while already drawing like 3 of your other psychic monsters, because if you're playing a 2-2, you might run that risk, but this worked out really well for me today. 2 copies of Junk Forward. This card's just another free level 3 special summon. You just have to summon it out before you do anything else, because you can't have monsters on the board if you want to special summon it. Triple copies of Kagamucha Knight. So when you normal summon at level 3, you can also just chain this card to that summon, and yeah, basically just summon this card out and get another level 3 on the field. 1 copy of Suchi, 1 copy of Jackalope. These cards are just really good. They kind of debrick your hand and are just more free level 3 bodies. 1 copy of Infernity Conjurer. So this card is like an honorary Phantom Knight card, and Vanilla Scoop was the one who he's the only other person I've seen play this card in Phantom Knights, but honestly it just fits in thematically with Phantom Knights just because it special summons itself from the graveyard when you have an empty hand, and also will banish itself when it leaves the field. But obviously, a lot of the Phantom Knights cards, when they, bring themselves back from the graveyard, or if you bring the Phantom Knights cards back from the graveyard with one of the trap cards, they will banish themselves. But, Phantom Knights just easily circumvent that because Ixie summoning and the way that interaction works. Triple copies of Fogblade and 2 copies of Wing. So Fogblade, obviously, amazing trap, and it's just really good to have as a monster negate. And Wings prevents your Phantom Knights monsters from being destroyed, like once, which is pretty good. It also gives them 500 attack, but mostly we like this card because it allows us to use Fogblade and Phantom Knights. Both of them have the same graveyard effect of being able to revive a Phantom Knights monster from your graveyard. So having access to both of these in your graveyard on your opponent's turn is really good, because a lot of the times what happens is they break your board and you have a Rusty Bardiche and a Break Sword in your graveyard. So if you have these 2 in your graveyard alongside that, you can go ahead and actually summon out the Bardiche and the Break Sword, and you can get a pop after your board has already been broken, which actually wins me a lot of games because 1, your opponents don't see it coming, and 2, they've already invested a lot of resources into breaking your board by that point. So yeah, I mean, chances are they're probably not playing through that, which is really cool. For the going second cards, we are playing triple imperm, triple copies of Chalice, triple copies of Talents, and triple copies of Dark Ruler No More. So all these going second cards have one thing in common, and that's that you can set them. I'm not playing any like monster hand traps just because I like to be able to empty out my hand with Infernity Conjurer. So having these can just kind of allow me to do that very easily. Whereas like having hand traps, if you're going first, they're going to be stuck in your hand. But yeah, these cards, Talents is good going first and second. Talents is so much better in Crossout right now, in my opinion. Like I feel like I just wasted money on Crossout Designator because this card is just so insane. Should have just bought it like right off the bat. But yeah, Crossout takes a very specific deck to kind of support it. Whereas this card, you can just slot it in, and it's pretty good going first and second. It won me so many games today. I also activated it in the Imperm column in one game, which yeah, that was really bad of me to do. So yeah, oops, I'm not good at this game. Triple copies of Imperm. Just good on your opponent's turn, good on your turn, whatever. So yeah, sometimes, it's just good. Triple copies of Chalice, just because. So Chalice and Imperm like have similar roles. Chalice is better in Imperm because you can use it on your turn whenever, whereas Imperm you can't like activate it the turn you set it as long as you have other stuff on the field. But obviously you can't use Chalice during your opponent's turn, so yeah, they kind of have like their pros and cons over each other. And then Dark Ruler is also just really insane. Just being able to turn off all your opponent's monster negates on the board. It won me a game against Adam Anzipater today, and yeah, obviously they don't really have a lot of follow-up in that deck, so they just lost on the spot to this one card. So yeah, that's it for the main deck. Let's go ahead and go into the extra deck real quick. Okay, to start for the extra deck, we're playing one copy of Cherubini, one copy of Rusty Bardiche, and one copy of Megaclops for the links. So basically these three link monsters are really all you need. The rest of the extra deck is like Xyz monsters, but Cherubini, just any two level 3s gets you this card, and it's so good because you just dump for cost. And most people know what this card does by now, but like obviously you get that one person who tries to ask Cherubini and you just feel bad for them because you can't actually legally do that. Yeah, the important part of this card's effect is actually the cost. So that's cool. Also, gamma-ing this card is actually decent, but obviously you can just easily circumvent that by setting cards, because obviously you want to maintain the Link 2 body to go into Rusty Bardiche easier. So if you're afraid of Gamma, you can go ahead and actually just set something, and this card can protect itself from being destroyed. Rusty Bardiche, obviously just really good, and it was on the ban list for a while for a reason, just because of how it sets you a card and gets you one into the graveyard, and that's just amazing. And then Megaclops, because we're playing a very heavy Xyz package, and we kind of like recur Xyz monsters very, very well in this deck. So yeah, being able to go into like three Xyz monsters is not too hard. And then once you get this card on the board, I feel like a lot of people think this card is just like an unaffected monster, but just being able to revive your Xyz monsters is amazing with this card. You don't even care about the half damage because yeah, you're just winning the grind game at that point. Megaclops is insane. And then we were playing 2 copies of Breaksword, 2 copies of Levier, 1 copy of Musa Rhythm, and then 1 copy of Humming. So these cards are pretty cool because obviously Breaksword, it just allows you to pop stuff and clean up boards, go for game easier. Levier recycles your banished monsters. And then these two, like Musa Rhythm's effect isn't the most relevant thing in the world, but Humming can revive the Musa Rhythm so that you can actually cycle more Xyz monsters and go for more Xyz plays. So if I would do it differently, I probably would just play 2 Humming and just skip the Musa Rhythm. But I guess Musa Rhythm's effect could come up because you can like double this card's attack and it can beat over some stuff. But Humming can allow you to attack directly, which is really good because you can actually make Zeus with this card. Also, it revives a Djinn monster when you summon it, so you can revive back the Musa Rhythm and kind of just get 2 Xyz monsters for the price of 1, which is cool. Then we are playing 1 Future and 1 Draco Future. So these cards are just really good. Draco Future is really nice negate. yeah, really not much else to be said there. It's indestructible by battle. Sometimes even Utopic Future can be good to like steal stuff, but once you steal a monster with this deck, you're not really like getting rid of it because we don't have like generic link monsters to like link off our stuff. So yeah, it's usually better not to steal monsters with this deck unless you're going for game. And then one copy of Evil Swarm Nightmare because it's something to go into when you pop your own break sword. So if you're going first, like sometimes you make this card just to be able to like flip your opponent's special summon monsters face down, and that's pretty cool. And then one copy of Raider's Knight and one copy of Ark Rebellion. So if you're going second, you can use your break sword to go into Raider's Knight instead, to either go into another Raider or another break sword, or more likely Ark Rebellion for game, because this card just swings for tons of damage. Also, if you go into the Mega Collapse and you have this card in your graveyard, you can actually revive it back, and it'll swing for some big damage. Even through half damage, this card can sometimes swing for game, which is cool. It didn't happen today, but theoretically could come up. And then one copy of Zeus for just making on top of one of our Xyz monsters. I'm not playing Downerd because I feel like Downerd is just we don't really have any like Xyz monsters that are big enough to like swing over stuff reliably. Like our biggest Xyz monster is like, it's going to be like Boozer Rhythm with like a doubled attack, but even like to double its attack, I believe you have to detach one. So yeah, it's just like, it's very hard to get a 4 material Zeus. So what I just do is I just go for humming, attack directly, and then make Zeus that way, which is cool because it doesn't really require a lot of investment. So that's it for the extra deck. Let's go ahead and breeze through the side deck real quick. So most of the side deck is just more blowout cards. So we are playing triple copies of Evenly, just for back row decks. Triple copies of Solemn Judgment for when we go first is just an extra layer of, making it difficult for opponent to actually break our board. One copy of Red Reboot for back row decks. Triple copies of Twin Twister for back row decks. One copy of Duster for back row decks. 2 copies of Droll for combo, and then 2 copies of Radiant for combo as well. Like, there's just really difficult monsters to get over. Just Kaijus take care of it, no problem. So yeah, that's really it for the deck, guys. It played really well. I really enjoyed it, and it was a nice little challenge and way to get away from the standard Phantom Knights build. So if you like the video, guys, make sure you click the like button, and if you want to see more of my content, make sure you hit the subscribe button. But with that, I am going to leave you guys with a peace out. Have a nice day. Goodbye.